She had 400,000 followers watching her transform into what she called an inhuman doll. 27 surgeries. 43,000 pounds spent reshaping every part of her body. But on November 2nd, 2024, Barbara Jankowski was found dead at just 31 years old, half naked in a townhouse with a man she just met, injuries on her body, and substances in her system. What really happened in those final hours? Barbara didn't start with a name most people knew her by. She rebranded herself as Boneca Desumana, which translates to inhuman doll in Portuguese. That wasn't just a catchy username, it was a mission statement. Over the years, she underwent 27 different cosmetic procedures, spending over $43,000 to create what she believed was the perfect appearance. 5 nose jobs alone, liposuction on her neck, abdomen, and legs, breast augmentations, buttock enhancements, eyebrow lifts. The list went on and on. Every surgery was documented. Every recovery was shared. Her followers watched her transform in real time, procedure after procedure, each one bringing her closer to the image she'd built in her mind. She wasn't shy about it either. Barbara appeared on television shows, debating the concept of the perfect body and defending her choices against critics who questioned whether she'd gone too far. To her, this was empowerment. To others, it was a warning sign, but the engagement was massive. People couldn't look away. The last major procedure happened in the summer of 2024. Barbara went under the knife for a facelift, and like always, she brought her followers along for the journey. She posted selfies showing her bruised face, black eyes from the surgery, the kind of raw images most people would hide. But transparency was her brand. She assured everyone that the recovery was going faster than expected, that the scars would be almost invisible. Her followers flooded the comments with support, telling her how beautiful she looked even in the midst of healing. On October the 1st, she posted what would become her final image, a photo with fellow influencer A Voz da Razão, smiling, looking healthy. Everything seemed fine. Then she went silent. For someone who posted regularly, who built her entire career on constant updates, over a month of radio silence was strange. Her followers started asking questions. Where did she go? Was she okay? Nobody had answers. And then the news broke. November 2nd, 2024. Authorities received an emergency call from a townhouse in São Paulo. When they arrived, they found Barbara's body. She was 31 years old. The man who made the call was 51-year-old Renato Campos Pinto de Vito, a public defender. His story was straightforward but disturbing. He told police he'd hired Barbara for what he called sexual services that night. They'd both used illicit substances together. At some point, things went horribly wrong. The details he provided painted a chaotic picture of those final hours, but they also raised more questions than they answered. How much did they use? What exactly happened before she stopped breathing? The authorities began treating the death as suspicious immediately. The scene itself was troubling. Barbara was found wearing only her underwear. There was an injury to her left eye, marks on her back. A friend who was questioned later claimed the eye injury came from a fall earlier that day, completely unrelated to what happened at the townhouse. But the timing felt too convenient. De Vito's account stated that after they'd both used the substances, Barbara fell asleep. He said he realized something was wrong when she stopped moving. That's when panic set in. But by then, it might have been too late. The injuries, the substances, the circumstances, everything pointed to a night that spiraled out of control faster than anyone could stop it. De Vito didn't run. He called emergency services immediately after realizing Barbara wasn't breathing. The dispatcher walked him through CPR, and he performed chest compressions for 9 minutes straight while waiting for paramedics to arrive. 9 minutes of trying to bring her back. When the ambulance finally got there, they took over, but it was no use. Barbara was pronounced dead at the scene. The substance involved hasn't been publicly identified yet. Toxicology reports take time, and authorities were still waiting on the full autopsy results. But whatever they used that night, it was enough to end her life. De Vito cooperated with police, giving his statement and explaining what happened from his perspective. Still, the fact remained. A young woman was dead under circumstances that didn't sit right with investigators. Police immediately classified the death as suspicious. That label meant they weren't ruling anything out. Was it an accidental overdose? Did the injuries play a role? Was there more to the story than De Vito was telling? The investigation began in earnest, with detectives combing through every detail of that night. They interviewed the friend who claimed to know about the eye injury. They examined the timeline, trying to piece together exactly when things went wrong. They analyzed the scene, looking for anything that didn't match up with the story they'd been given. Toxicology results would be crucial. Those tests would reveal exactly what substances were in Barbara's system and in what quantities. Until those results came back, the full picture remained frustratingly incomplete. But the circumstances alone were enough to keep this case open and active. A 31-year-old influencer, found half naked with injuries, after a night involving substances and a man she'd just met. It was the kind of case that demanded answers. Within hours of the news breaking, Barbara's Instagram became a memorial. Her final post, the one with Avos de Razão from October 1st, was flooded with thousands of comments from heartbroken followers. "You lived the life you wanted," one wrote. Others left broken heart emojis, candles, prayers. Some expressed anger, demanding to know what really happened. The 400,000 people who'd followed her transformation journey were suddenly mourning her loss. But the comments also revealed something else: the complicated relationship people had with Barbara's choices. Some praised her for living authentically and doing what made her happy, regardless of what others thought. Others saw her story as a cautionary tale about taking cosmetic procedures too far, about the dangers of chasing an impossible standard of perfection. Her legacy became a debate in itself. Was she empowered or trapped? A trendsetter or a victim of society's beauty obsession? The conversations happening in those comments reflected larger questions about influencer culture, the normalization of extreme cosmetic surgery, and what happens when the pursuit of perfection becomes an addiction. Barbara Jankowski spent years transforming herself into what she called the inhuman doll. 27 surgeries, hundreds of thousands of followers, countless hours under the knife and in recovery. She built an empire around her transformation, sparked debates about beauty standards, and lived her life exactly how she wanted, until it all ended in a townhouse in São Paulo, under circumstances that still don't have complete answers. The investigation continues. Toxicology results are pending. Questions about what really happened that night remain unanswered. But one thing is certain: Barbara's story is more than just another tragic headline about an influencer gone too soon. It's a mirror reflecting back our society's obsession with perfection, the risks people take to achieve it, and the dark places that obsession can lead. Her followers are left with memories of her transformation, her confidence, and her willingness to share every step of her journey. But they're also left wondering if anyone saw the warning signs, if anyone could have intervened, or if Barbara was always heading toward this ending. The human Barbie story ends not with perfection, but with tragedy and questions that may never be fully answered.